I want to tell you about the moment most people quit. It is not at the beginning. The beginning has its own energy, the excitement of starting, the clarity of intention, the optimism of someone who has not yet been tested by the gap between vision and reality. People almost never quit at the beginning. They quit in the middle. The middle is where the initial enthusiasm has worn off and the destination still feels impossibly far. The middle is where the results have not arrived in the timeline the beginning promised. The middle is where the work has become familiar enough to be hard, but not yet rewarding enough to feel worth it. The middle is the long, featureless stretch of a journey where you cannot clearly see where you came from and cannot yet see where you are going, and the only honest answer to the question of how much longer is I don't know. Most people quit in the middle, not because they are weak, not because the goal was wrong, because the middle is genuinely, brutally, relentlessly hard. And because the middle has a very convincing way of looking like the end when you are exhausted enough to stop looking carefully. Welcome to Motivation Daily. This is March 30th. And today I want to say something to the person who is in the middle right now and is seriously considering whether to keep going. You are closer than you think. I know that might sound like something people say, like the comfortable reassurance of someone who doesn't know your specific situation and is just trying to make you feel better. But I want you to consider the possibility that it is simply, factually true, not as a matter of optimism, but as a matter of how progress actually works. Progress is not linear. You already know this intellectually, but in the middle of the journey it is easy to forget it in the body, where the feeling of not moving is so convincing and so constant. The truth about almost every meaningful pursuit is that the results compress near the end. The long plateau of the middle gives way, sometimes suddenly, sometimes after one more push, to a period of rapid and visible and deeply satisfying progress. The compound interest of all that invisible middle period work finally becomes visible. The investment pays out. The thing that felt like it was never going to happen starts to happen faster than you expected. But only for the people who did not quit in the middle. There is a concept in physics called activation energy, the minimum amount of energy required to start a chemical reaction. Before that threshold is reached, nothing happens. No matter how much energy has been added, no matter how much the system has been building toward the reaction, from the outside it looks like nothing is occurring. And then the threshold is crossed and the reaction happens, and to someone watching from the outside, it can look sudden, instant, like it came from nowhere. It did not come from nowhere. It came from every moment of invisible building that preceded it. It came from everyone who stayed in when leaving looked like the reasonable choice. And the only way to experience the reaction is to not quit before the activation energy threshold is reached.
You do not know where your threshold is. That is the hard truth. You cannot know exactly how many more sessions, how many more attempts, how many more days of showing up without visible reward stand between you and the moment when everything you have been building finally breaks through. It might be months away. It might be weeks. It might be closer than you could possibly imagine from inside the exhaustion of the middle. What I know with certainty is this. Every person who has ever told the story of a breakthrough, in business, in athletics, in creative work, in health, in any area that required long sustained effort, has at least one moment in their story where they almost stopped. A moment where quitting felt not just tempting but logical, where continuing felt not just difficult but foolish. And the only thing that separates their story from a story that ends at the almost is that in that moment, they found one more reason to keep going. One more day, one more attempt, one more session in the middle of the long, featureless, unrewarding stretch. That one more is everything. So today, I am not asking you to find new passion or renew your excitement or reconnect with the vision that lit you up at the beginning. If those things are available to you, wonderful, use them. But if they're not, if the tank is low and the middle is dark and the only thing you have left is the decision to not quit today, then use that. It is enough. It has always been enough. Do not quit today, not because I can promise you the breakthrough is tomorrow, but because you have come too far and invested too much and become too much to let the middle be the last word. You are in the middle, which means you are not at the end, which means the story is still being written. Keep writing it. If you know someone who was deep in the middle and questioning whether to keep going, send this to them right now. That one share might be the one more they needed. Subscribe to Motivation Daily. One more day, every day. That is what we do together. Drop a comment and tell me, what is the thing you almost quit that you are so glad you kept going with? Your answer might be the reason someone else decides to stay. See you tomorrow. Keep going.